Greetings! Welcome to the Devlog for Experimental Build 2 of Update 102 of Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, as we got our first experimental build out last week, which is nice because it allows me to sort of push sort of iterative and smaller builds to you folks more frequently now that we're properly in the Update 102 cycle. So this week was mostly bug fixes, but I've got a couple fun small little toys for you folks to go along with it. So let's cover those first, because those are super fun. So the first one, this is courtesy of the 3D artist Ole, and this is a ridiculous piece. This is being given the name, because it really has earned it in game, the worst shotgun ever made. And you're like, surely there can't be one. You bet there is. It's this sucker right here, which is the Terminator, which, man, if there was a name that a firearm has not earned, it would be this and the name Terminator, unless the only thing it is terminating is your shoulder. So this is a single shot slam fire shotgun. As you can see here, its mechanism, it almost looks like someone took a Sten and sort of made it backwards. So basically we grab this, we pull this forward, and we lock it. You can see the entire barrel has moved forward here, and we've got this little latch in there that is holding the bolt forward. We insert a shell, like so. Rotate that, rest that back. Let's go ahead and pull out our shoulder stock. And as we fire this, I'll fire it this way first so you can see it. This is going to slam backward and slam our shell into the firing pin. Like so. Absolutely terrible. And because it doesn't really even have an ejector, you got to kind of fling the old shell out of it. What are you? I know, I was testing something with that. I'm like, what is the floating sphere? Wouldn't be a devlog without something weird. Blammo. So there you have it. The worst. If you're asking, would it be possible in H3 to have something worse than a single shot break action shotgun? Here you go. Worse. Oh, I love it. I love it. Bammo. What a glorious piece of junk. Moving over here, two other just minor toys, just things that I saw when I peruse asset marketplaces, and every now and again something catches my eye. One was someone decided just to make up a 72 round drum for an Uzi, and I was like, you know me, I will never turn down some drum mag action. Wonderful. So there you have it. The Uzi now has a 72 round drum. And the last little dumb thing that I put in here is I saw this offset grip, this foregrip that is at a 45-degree angle, which I know always tends to look super cool and not at all practical. But I mean, come on. And I was like, I gotta have that. That had to go in. So there's our offset foregrip. And some of you might not know this, but note that like almost all Picatinny attachments can go on either way. So if you are, say, left-handed, you can attach it that way if you want. Find any more glass around here to shoot? Could just reset it. Wonderful. So beyond our toys, we have some new features on our panel here. You will now notice that under on Spawn Attack 2, instead of just having main and A as our options, all of our other annexes have been filled in. So if we grab this here and, I don't know, warp over to Annex E here, let's reset our windows. We can now set and attack size. Note that random is now an option, so it will now pick between 1 and 6 for those sizes. So I guess we're over at E, so let's pick, boom. Attack at E. I have no idea how many of them are coming for me. Just going to be part of the fun here. I don't really know what direction they're coming from exactly either. Oh, you know what? They're probably going to aggro on that testing sphere. Blast it. Let's see if they do. Be funny if no one showed up. Oh, nope, he is just standing there contemplating his orb. Oh, no, he saw me.
You're bothering me.
Oh, he's definitely out there. Where'd he go? Oh, yeah, now he's just shooting at the orb.
Oh, goody.
Obviously would have been a better demonstration. Without that there, I'll have to remember to remove that before pushing the build. But yeah, so there's now patrol groups, guard points, etc. for all of our buildings. Let's go somewhere where they're not going to see that orb. So if I jump over to C here and just break out the window, like so, reset windows, and then set, I don't know, 3 guards inside C. They'll be right there. 10 round mag. Well, that felt horrible. Sorry, guys. I don't know, just firing a foul in this game is just, intense. So that's all there. Now, in addition to that, you can now set a respawn point for yourself. So let's say you want to be playing in here and you always want to be sort of coming from a specific part in the level based upon what you're setting up. Wherever you're standing, you can just set respawn point and it will set the sort of death respawn point to wherever you're standing. And importantly now, if you actually die while standing in the scene, it will now auto-clear those SOSIGs, so you won't get stuck in like a death endless restart loop anymore. So yeah. And then beyond that, I spent some time this week doing a few more optimizations. The scene should run a little faster, a little more reliably now, hopefully. So let me know if you notice a difference, because I tuned up a whole bunch of physics stuff. So yeah. So satisfying. Anywho, let's jump out and I will talk about all of the bug fixes that came with this week's update. Yo! So I hope you enjoy playing with that. As for the other big fixes that are in this build, the big one is that basically there were a bunch of changes that I had made to sort of SOSIG AI entity connections and the new sort of particle effect that plays above their head when they are unconscious. And I made all of those changes on the default SOSIG body and just completely forgot to propagate them to all of the other bodies, the robot one, the ZOSIG ones. And so basically any mode that had a SOSIG body that wasn't the default one was just completely breaking. So I fixed all of that. This one was surprisingly hard to figure out, but I had done some collision changes to the welding mask for the SOSIGs to make it more accurate and to make it so there's actually like a strip of collision here that's glass. And it didn't work. Basically, you could just shoot them anywhere in the welding mask, and it would just pop the link immediately. And it had to do with sort of like the way a projectile searches for the correct component on the correct game object that it needs to damage. I had misconfigured something, but I swear I spent like an entire day trying to figure out what was broken with it. And I felt super dumb because I literally had a script designed for fixing this issue from the last time I ran into this like 3 years ago and had just forgotten about it because the code base of this game is just that big at this point. So that has been fixed. And the other thing that I tried to tune was the specific way in which the flee state works. So now it's before, basically what was happening is that once a SOSIG started fleeing from the sort of search from weapons state, it would never leave that state, even if it had a firearm, unless its suppression came all the way down and it no longer saw a target, which is not correct, obviously. There needs to be some sort of, you should be able to continue suppressing them during a flee to keep them fleeing, but they should be able to come back out of it easier. So I have tuned that. Hopefully that works better. Oh, and I fixed Sosig's not doing melee damage to the player. That was one of those things where like I attempted to do a clever optimization. I think it was actually in relationship to some door stuff. And then by doing that, I ended up breaking their ability to hurt you because the way that your like pseudo hitbox collider works. So I reverted that change in part because I can't even remember exactly why I did that optimization, which is, I need to take better notes. So yeah, oh, and then lastly, I added an option for Sosig chunks. You can now disable them. So if you're running on a really weak computer or just don't like all that like wet, meaty slapping sounds, each time you blow a Sosig link apart, the chunks will, if you disable them, the chunks will no longer spawn. The link still explodes. You still get the like mustardy particle effects and such, but you no longer actually get the big physics-enabled subchunks. So that should help those of you who are running on weaker hardware. So hopefully that helps. Well, that's about it. That's our build for this week. As I said, like now that we're in sort of like on the branch and in experimental, these are going to be smaller builds. I'm still sort of like bug fixing my various changes and getting some more things into the grill house and waiting for the folks who make mod frameworks to finish making their adjustments to my sort of big sort of back-end API changes. And then once that happens, we'll throw this sucker up on alpha, do some final testing, and then get this sucker out, call it an update. So, and then move on to the next cool thing. So hope you all have a fun weekend, and I hope you all enjoy playing with our wonderful worst shotgun ever made. I know I have. So see y'all soon. Peace.